Pikachu?
Hello everyone, I'm back with my next challenge, and before we go into it, I had my first bit of artwork from Wilson A, showing off Snapper and Chikorita going into their Super Saiyan forms. I love it, and please keep them coming in. So let's be honest, the last video is not much of a challenge really. Pokemon Red is pretty easy to get through. There are no items, no abilities to contend with, and Squirrel's move pool is pretty solid. But you guys seem to love it, and you love these challenges, so it's on to the next one. I decided to use a Pokemon I used to hate fighting against during my time with the VGC, the blank canvas that is Smeargle. As a doubled Pokemon, I thought it was amazing because it could do anything it wanted, but on its own, it's an absolute bag of dicks. So I made up my mind and actually gave myself a challenge. So today I'll be asking the question, can you beat Fire Red with just a Smeargle? Wait, 2-Bit Crow already did this? Oh fucking hell, hang on, give me a sec. Well, after watching it, I've done it differently. If you do fancy a different take on it, sit back and enjoy the carnage. So, onto the rules, and we all know these by now. I can only use Smeargle in battle, no trades, and no glitches. As per usual, we start the game as HBT, and I decide to show my rival some respect again and call him Blue. As per the last video, we get to the part where we pick our first Pokemon, and I pick the almighty Smeargle. I call him Da Vinci after the great Renaissance painter Leonardo da Vinci. Due to the position of where Smeargle was, Blue picks Charmander, and before we fight, Oak gives us a short explanation of how to actually battle. Look mate, I didn't need you over my shoulder when I was 11, so fuck right off. Now armed with only Sketch, I use it and miss, which means I'm struggling right from the beginning. Now this is where things get a bit fucking tedious. I currently have no moves apart from Struggle, so I have to take out what I can, then use the Poké Center in Viridian City and heal up. I decide for now to get the Pokédex, but just moves the story along, as I need to face Blue by Viridian City. I get to the first real battle against Blue and use Sketch, praying he uses Tackle, which his Pidgey does. I Sketch it and then lose the battle, but now I have an attacking move that's not actually going to kill me. However, the other problem is that Smeargle is weak as dog shit, and so even level 2 Rattatas can take me out. After a lot of boring grinding, I get myself to level 11 and get another Sketch. Now from every 10 levels from here on in, I'll get awarded with another Sketch to play with to get a new move. I had done some research beforehand about how I was going to use my Sketches because I can see this is going to be a really hard playthrough. At level 11 I face Blue again and lose because of critical tackle misses. Like a 2 in a row, come on, fuck off. I try again and lose again. I level up to level 13 and this time it's no problem at all. I headed into the Viridian Forest and it was absolutely boring as shit. I stayed in there and grinded until I was level 16 because I'm going to need all the help I can get. I then go to Pewter City and try and fight Brock's underlings, but I have no chance against a Geodude and lose with these. I decide I'm going to have to grind even more. Off camera I did beat Brock's underling, but the footage has been lost to me, probably eaten by the baby, I apologise. But alas, I am now level 19 and going into Brock on my first attempt, I got my ass handed to me. At least with this game he decided to put a shirt on. I get to level 20 and keep trying against Brock because I know what I want and it is Onix, but I'm still too low to beat the thing. After many attempts I get what I was after, Rock Tomb. I thought this move may serve me well going forward as Smeargle is not known for its speed. Damage wise though I'm still getting absolutely slaughtered and I had to grind to level 25 and I also picked up the move Sand Attack from a Pidgey. Back to Brock we went as Geodude would just use Defense Curl for ages and then start attacking, but I was able to take it down with normally about 2/3 my health left. Now the plan against Onix was to Sand Attack it to death and then just hope for the best. The first time I tried it I got so close but was taken out, and to be honest I was done with grinding, so I made my stand at this level and thought fuck it, take me as I am. It took a good few tries but eventually I was able to beat the Snake Demon and boy did it feel good. With the Boulder Badge in hand we were off to Mount Moon. Luckily due to my level most of the Pokemon I faced in here were not too much of a problem, but I did try and avoid the trainers that were lurking around, especially the hikers I had to be wary of because Tackle was not going to do much damage to them at all, but thankfully I had Sand Attack which was able to keep the damage off. Now by doing all this I came out of Mount Moon level 30 which I was quite happy with, and I was due to get another Sketch shortly, so I just played in the grass before Cerulean City to get to that magic level. I went to Misty's gym and fought her underlings off quite easily, but then came Misty who I really thought was going to be very shitty tough. Against Staryu I did use Sand Attack but it had Harden and Water Pulse which made this a right pain in the arse. I managed to get through to Starmie but was brushed aside with absolute ease. I tried to fight again, then Staryu used what I wanted it to, Recover. This move was going to be a godsend and to get that so early in the run would help dramatically. My battle with Staryu did go on for a bit, but again Staryu wiped me out almost immediately. I did a little bit more grinding to get to level 33 and was able to tank Water Pulse a bit better. Now this meant I was able to use Sand Attack and finally able to bring Starmie down. I I headed north to fight Blue and removed Pidgeotto pretty easily with Rock Tomb. Rattata was no problem, but his Charmander managed to get a burn on me to lower my attack. Thankfully, using a mixture of a cover and Rock Tomb, I managed to finish it off. And Abra, as we know, is fucking shite because he's only got teleport, so this was an easy one for me. I headed up Nugget Bridge and won me a Nugget from the Team Rocket and fought as many trainers as I could, as I know I'm going to need that experience. I met with Bill, who gave us the SSN tickets, which meant I could head south to Vermilion City and head on the SSN. I cleared the decks to get more experience, and the mixture of Tackle and Rock Tomb seems to be working. For now. I did all the bollocks on the ship and then entered Lieutenant Surge's gym, where I'm currently level 41 and deleted Sand Attack for Sketch. Well, why, you ask? Well, to fight this Pikachu because it knows Double Team, so rather than use Sand Attack on each opponent, I can just focus on getting up my own evasion stats. Thankfully, it doesn't take long before I get Double Team locked in and start my battle with Surge. Now, once my 6 double teams are in, I recovered and started attacking. Voltorb went down pretty easy, as did his Pikachu, but it did manage to paralyse me with Static. I then realised I kept getting hit by Shockwave, and Raichu managed to finish me off with a critical. Second time round, I get to Raichu again, but got screwed by another fucking critical. Third time, I had no problem and finished off the lovable oaf. I headed east to the Cerulean City to the Rock Tunnel. I knew my attacking options were very limited at this point. I also didn't have Flash, so I was relying on my memory and this little circle to get me through. I'm not gonna lie, this was annoying as fuck. There were still hikers in the Rock Tunnel, which made my life absolute hell. And finally, I did get out of the tunnel and made my way to Celadon City and fought the remaining few trainers. Now it was on to Erica, and I really could only use Tackle for this one, as Rock Tomb was pretty shit against her team. I used good old Double Team to get me ready, and recovered myself to get to a safe state. The Victory Bell did paralyse me, but I tackled my way through to finish it off. Tangela was next out, but Tackle did its job again. Vileplume was Erica's final Pokemon, and he went down surprisingly easily. I think it couldn't put me to sleep because I was already paralysed. I went straight after Team Rocket, and whilst I was there, I got to level 51, which gave me another Sketch, and I took a gamble to get rid of Tackle. I then carried on my merry way and faced them a Chop, who used Seismic Toss. And then it was like a light bulb went ping in my head. Why did I not think of this? I sketched it because this move would be crucial for the rest of the game. My original plan was to get Calm Mind to increase my special attack, and then just use Psychic on everything, but now when using Seismic Toss, it meant I had a move that was consistent and would do a great deal of damage. Nearly everything would die to 2 hits in this bad boy. I get to Giovanni now on with his mega move, and as predicted, he loses Onix and Rhyhorn in 2 hits, and Kangaskhan barely holds on. This is a game changer. I'm just going to toss everyone off until they faint.
What the? No homo.
With the Silph Scope now in hand, I went to the Pokemon Tower and met our friend Blue. Nothing much to report here, just Seismic Toss and carry on. Nothing could stop me with this move. Well, bar a Ghost, which is where I am, the home of them. The Ghosts, however, I can get rid of them quite easily with Rock Tomb. I get to the top and clear out the rest of the Rocket Grunts, and because of that, get the Poké Flute from Mr. Fuji. I face my favourite friend Snorlax, and he goes down in 3 tosses. From there, I fight the bikers for EXP and head south to Future City, where I first went and got Surf and the Warden's Teeth to get access to Strength. I went after old Koga mate and thought this was going to be an absolute breeze. I get rid of his coughing easily enough, but Muck uses Toxic and Minimize, which makes this battle incredibly difficult. I try again and start double teaming, knowing Toxic is an automatic loss. I know it's going to take at least 3 Seismic Tosses to get rid of Muck. It also has Minimize and at least 1 Hyper Potion. I feared this battle was going to be one of luck, so I decided, fuck it, I'm going to go to Silphco instead. And this was an absolute breeze, because everything fell after me tossing them off for a little bit. I got to level 61 and got a new Sketch. I decided to remove Double Team because I wanted Minimize. The rest of Team Rocket posed no threat to the artists at all due to them having absolutely shit Pokemon. I get to Blue and Pidgeot was first. 2 tosses and it was gone, as was Gyarados, Charizard, Execute, Alakazam. My god, I love tossing people off. Blue just can't believe how well I tossed off his Pokemon and he left. I faced Giovanni and tossed off all his Pokemon as well, whilst making sure I had time to recover. He buggers off, leaving me with a Master Ball. I head to Sabrina and take out her lackeys, and Rock Tomb is still needed to get rid of some of the ghosts. With Sabrina, there is a move I really want, and that is Psychic, which I managed to pick up off of the Alakazam. Now it's time for the real battle, and I unknown how this is going to go due to the power of her Psychic attacks and Da Vinci's really shit defense, but I need not have worried because her team fall like fucking nothing. I go back to Koga with Psychic in hand and feel a lot more prepared. Coughing decides to kill itself, and I'm able to get rid of Muck with Psychic, but before it goes down it uses Sludge, which poisoned me, but this was much better than having Toxic on me. Koga's second Coughing went down with the second Psychic, and I was able to remove Wheezing by, you get it, tossing it off. As usual, I head south from Pallet Town to get me to Cinnabar Island, and I pick up the key to let me enter the gym. Rock Tomb helps me remove a lot of the underlings with relative ease. I'm currently now at level 71, and use my next Sketch to get rid of Rock Tomb, as I'm personally done with it for now. I then go back to Pokemon Mansion and pick up a Minimize of a Grimer. I use Minimize, but quickly realise it's not how it is now, and it only increases my evasion by 1 stage and not 2. Well, what a waste of fucking time that was. I toss off all Blaine's Pokemon and they go off within 2 tosses. Not many Pokemon can stand me tossing them off, and it's simply just too much for them to take. After this, I went on a catching spree, which I really hadn't done for a while. I obtained 30 Pokemon so I could tame the item finder from Professor Oak's aid. Now why, you ask? Well, this is so I can get the leftovers that was sat under Snorlax. This item is guaranteed health recovery, which is crucial for Da Vinci. With this in hand, I go face Geo for the last time. I minimise for safety and start tossing him off. The battle itself was so easy and I barely felt threatened at all, and all 8 badges were mine. I faced Blue and it was the same thing as the Geofighters. Once the ninja skill was in, the fight became a joke. Executor did manage to paralyse it, but it did nothing to stop me winning. I started to wonder if I'd now made this challenge a little bit too easy. Victory Road was no problem, apart from this thing. My moveset was absolutely useless due to Chansey's huge HP, and I had to rely on Struggle to actually win. Good old Chansey, why aren't you in Sword and Shield? We got out of Victory Road and dodged the Stone Bollocks, which had still not been fucking moved, and entered the Indigo Plateau. I was feeling quite positive going into this, as I had a good moveset to deal with the entire Elite Four. Lorelei was first to the slaughter. I went and used a few minimizers and then went straight after a team. There was no real problem from any of them really. Dugong went down, as did Cloyster, Slowbro, Lapras and Jinx. So I moved on to good old Bruno, and I was worried his fighting Pokemon could have been a threat, but thankfully he was no problem, and as usual, he's fucking shit. Next is Professor Oak in Drag, and luckily I had Psychic to deal a lot of damage when Seismic Toss wouldn't work. A Gengar gets me poisoned with Toxic, which is a very, very bad thing. I managed to get rid of Gengar and Golbat, but the poison gets me when I'm against Arbok. I tried again and started minimizing and managed to get rid of the Gengar before it could poison me. Golbat wasn't really a problem, nor was the Arbok. The second Gengar tried to put me asleep and missed, resulting in me finishing off. But then I get to the Haunter, and I've run out of fucking PP for fuck's sake. The next time I had plenty of Psychics left, and Haunter was easily brushed aside. Lance was the final member, but I had run out of PP completely and had no Max Ethers to set myself up beforehand. I tried Struggle and I did absolutely fuck all, so I had to leave the Elite Four and went through the game to get some Max Ethers. I get back to Lance now at a much higher level of 82, and once minimised, Lance was there to be tossed off, and toss him off I did. In fact, I was so quick tossing him off that he only hit me back once. Blue was the final hurdle, and even though his Pidgeot had Aerial Ace, I was able to get it out the way. Alakazam was not a problem either, as I was able to get the minimizers up. Executor went down with no problem, Bryden was not a problem even though it did use a potion. Gyarados then hit me with a Hydro Pump, but I took it and got rid of it. Finally, it was his Charizard, and it had Aerial Ace too, but thankfully it did fuck all damage to me. After tossing it off once more, it went down, and I'd become the champion. See, I kind of felt underwhelmed because that was quite easy. I really enjoyed winning it though, as this one only took me 2 days to do. But what made me feel even better was seeing Blue fuck off after having a paddy. Now for the post-game. Now I could show you the Seville Islands, but I won't because it's the biggest load of shit I've ever seen in a post-game. So I'll spare you all this and instead take you to the final challenges of this game, the Elite Four. Again. Wait, whoa. There is something that actually does need to be done, and that's the big purple dildo Mewtwo, as he does need to be taken on. I make my way through the Cerulean Cave to get to my old friend, and I have no intention of catching it. I tried to minimise and get hit with a Psychic, and died in one hit. So that makes it pretty clear. If I get hit with Psychic, that's it, I'm fucked. Third time round, however, I actually managed to survive a Psychic, which means that our Mewtwo's stats must be quite low. I managed to get minimised up and I tossed it off 3 times and it was gone. It's now time for a buffed up Elite Four, and I have no idea how this is going to go, but it has to be the same strategy as I did previously. First up, it's Lorelei, and her Dugong started being a pain in the arse and double teaming itself, and I couldn't hit the bastard. It then managed to freeze me and I just fucking gave up. Second time I went after it without minimising and got rid of it quite quick. Cloyster managed to freeze me, but having used minimise, it managed to keep me safe until the ice melted and I was able to get rid of it. Piloswine wasn't a problem, nor was Jinx. I was able to get rid of Lapras with 3 tosses, and that was 1 down. Next was Bruno, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I was not looking forward to this at all. Luckily for me, Steelix was useless and let me get minimised up, and I was able to get rid of it. But it's not that I was worried about, it's this thing. 1 hit from Hitmonchan finished me off with the Sky Uppercut. Second time round, I did manage to get rid of it, but then Machamp tells me to fuck off, and that was that. Machamp is so strong that you can easily get rid of Smeargle if he hits it in 1 or 2 hits. Eventually I did get rid of Machamp, and then out came Hitmonlee. Unlike Hitmonchan and Machamp, it's a pile of shit, and I get rid of it first try and also the remaining Steelix. Agatha was next to be tossed off, but once again I couldn't use the move and had to start minimising to get myself ready. But because she was very rude and kept using potions, I ended up using 5 Psychics on Gengar, which was a right pain in the arse. I got rid of Golbat and Arbok with ease by tossing them off. I had to use the remaining 5 Psychics on the second Gengar, but I had nothing to finish off the Mischievous, which ended that. Luckily I had a spare PP up in the bag and used it on Psychic. This time, however, 2 Psychics were able to take out the first Gengar, which gave me the extra PP I needed. The second Gengar needed 5, but luckily I managed to get rid of Mischievous on the final Psychic. Lance was the final big boy to come to the party, which meant I'm near the end of my journey. Gyarados used Thunder Wave, which helped mess up things big time, and then blast me with Hyper Beam. Right, so I can't survive that then. Next, it Earthquakes me to death, so can't survive that either. Then it Hyper Beam me again, and again. Finally I got rid of it and out King Kingdra, but it was just a waste of my time. The first Dragonite wasn't really a threat either. I just kept making sure I was recovering to put myself in a safe position until I was happy to get rid of it. Aerodactyl had Aerial Ace, so I just had to be careful, but thankfully I was able to remove it. The second Dragonite was also not a threat, and I ended up with a fight with full HP. Success! It was time for the hardest battle in the game, the Rival, Part 2. I max ethered up and made my way in. Blue's first Pokemon was the awesome Pokemon that is Heracross. Due to its typing, this could have been a right pain in the arse, but you kept using Mega Horn, which was much easier to manage. Until it gets a fucking critical hit and wipes me out, the dickhead. Second time, it wasn't really a problem, and it was sent bye-bye, as was Alakazam and Executor. Tyrannosaur was next, and what a fucking monster this thing is. This was a slow battle, as it had Aerial Ace for some strange reason, Sandstorm, and a lot of potions, so I had to take each step carefully. Eventually, with some very careful plays, I was able to get rid of it. Gyarados was next, and I thought I was on the home stretch, but then it hit me with a Hydro Pump. Oh, come on! I got back to it again, and it finished me off with an Earthquake. This is a fucking farce! Finally, I managed to get out of my life and move on to the last Pokemon in the game, Charizard. I was about to complete the challenge and hit it with my final move, but then it used Fire Blast and took the legs right from under me. We met again, but there was no repeat of its heroics, and I tossed him off one final time, and it was done. I have beaten Pokemon Fire Red with just a Smeargle and by tossing everything off. To recap, I love this playthrough and it was a great challenge to do as it actually made me have to think. I am grateful for all your ideas in the comments and I'm starting to go through which ones I'm actually going to attempt. Expect my next challenge video in 3 weeks time and I promise it's going to be worth it. Now until next time everyone, I've been HPT and he has been the great little painter who likes tossing everybody off. Bye bye.